Hi, this video is just to quickly go over the answers to the 4.2 homework review. So if you haven't done it, then go back and do the review and check your answers with this video. I just want to go over the calculator again, make sure everyone's getting the new trick, and yeah, just make sure you're getting the hang of everything. So I will share a screen. And here we have, I don't know where my face goes. Okay. Here we have question one, and it has two different answers depending on how you think of this problem. So the first one says, or the first problem says, determine whether or not it's a binomial distribution. If not, state the reason why. So what I did was I answered the yes and the no answer, and then I just went ahead and stated the reason why. I thought it could be both. So you kind of just check and see how you were thinking. So they choose 8 marbles from a box of 40, and it lists the colors here. And we're keeping track of the number of red marbles chosen. So if you're thinking in your head that you are recording purple, red, green, so you have 3 columns, and then at the end you want to know how many red, then you would say, no, this is not a binomial distribution because there's 3 choices. However, if you said, the way I would do this problem is I'm going to pull a marble out and I'm going to write down, is it red or is it not red? Then you just have 2 columns. So that's binomial distribution because it has only 2 choices. So whether you said no or whether you said yes, you might be right. It just depends on your reasoning. Okay, for number 2, kind of actually gives us, well, it doesn't give us too much information because it asks for all this, but it talks about Q. So I just wanted to go over that. Q is the probability of failure. P is the probability of success. There's only 2 choices, failure or success. So I'm a little short. I can't see my hand. Oh my gosh, okay. You get hit something and then jumped back up. So I'm not going to make the table mad. We'll just stay right here. I'll set up taller. You have 2 choices, failure or success. So those 2 choices each have a probability. We called Q 1 minus P in the last formula, but that's because P plus Q equals everything. It equals 1 whole. Success and failure equals 1 whole. So when you do some algebra, get Q by itself, it's 1 minus P. So sometimes you'll see on the homework that they'll be asking for Q. It's nothing new. It's just a different way of saying what we already found in the last video, which was 1 minus P. So we're just identifying things. P is, well, in this problem, you kind of have to read all the way through to know what a success is. It says we want to know the probability that they get exactly 17 strikes. Okay, so strikes is success. Therefore, 0.579, which is a strike. There's our P, our success. The other probability, the 0.421, is our Q, our failure. And 27 and X is 17 because they want exactly 17. Okay, number 3, this first page we're going to go pretty fast, and then we'll get to the calculator. So number 3, similar problem, but this time it says no more than. So no more than is less than or equal to. And as I've done this before, there's kind of 2 different ways that people think about this problem. So they either think of no more than as less than or equal to 16, which would make the opposite 1 minus X is greater than 16. You can't have the equal sign on both. 16 isn't in both, but we either have everything smaller than 16, including 16, and then on the other side of everything bigger than 16. Other people say, well, no more than 16 is just less than 17. So they make their cutoff at 17, everything less than 17, and then the opposite would be greater than or equal to. One of the answers has to have the equal to. So if you do less than or equal to, the other one's just greater than with no line underneath it. If you said less than 17, then the other one is greater than or equal to with the line under it. Okay, there's not really a lot of those kinds of questions, so you don't have to think too much about those, especially because we're going to be using the calculator. And with the calculator, we don't have to worry about how long a problem is going to take because the calculator will just zoom us right through it. Okay, now going to the calculator. So this problem Again, I'm not reading them exactly because I'm assuming you already started them and you're just checking your answers in the steps. So there's a probability of getting x exactly 11 times, so x equals 11. It gave us the probability of landing on heads. Heads is success, so it gives you two probabilities. You don't need to know both, you just need to know P. So you identify which one is P based off this part that I underlined where it says the probability of getting heads, so heads is success. And then finally, there's 27. So here we have the calculator. Hopefully you watched the bonus video. If not, maybe you're seeing this for the first time. It is a lot faster way of doing this problem. So I'm going to go down to distributions, and we are talking about binomial distributions. That's what this whole section is about. And it asks for n, which is 27, and it asks for p, which is 0.4, really tiny, 0.486. And I go down to next. And what I have here is the default is always less than, and we don't want less than, we want equal to. So I go over to this little picture, and right now you're just going to have to kind of figure out which is which, start memorizing which is which, because it doesn't tell you until you click on it. So this bottom one is equal to, and you'll notice as soon as I hit it, this symbol next to the X changes to equal. So I go over, put 11, and there's my probability. It says round to 3 decimal places. So we get 0, 1, 1, 1. Okay. Probability of 11 has a lot of ones in answer. Okay, number 5. There's 10 true false questions, so n is 10. True or false is 2 different answers. So the probability of getting it right is 1 out of 2. It's just like heads or tails, true or false. So it's 1 out of 2, so I put 0.5. And here it says, find the probability that there's at least one correct answer. So I wrote greater than or equal to 1 because that's what at least 1 means. Now, in the first video on this section, we talked about doing the 1 minus that trick. But now that we have the calculator, we don't have to. So I'm going to go back. In this problem, n is 10, probability is 0.5, and I want greater than or equal to. So I go over here, greater than is to the right. When I click on it, you can see that it changed the sign next to the X to greater than or equal to. I changed the number to 1. And you'll see on the picture, all of the numbers greater than or equal to 1 are now this yellowish orangish color. So I hit that. The answer is not 1. I have to hit enter first. But I hit enter. It's pretty dang close to 1. 0.999 to 3 decimal places. But I mean, this is saying if you don't know anything about a quiz and you just guess true or false for 10 questions, it's almost guaranteed 99.9% chance of you getting at least one question right. You can surely guess. You just put true for everything. You're going to guess something right. But also maybe you study and don't come to a quiz unprepared. Have to get that little teacher disclaimer in there. Okay, on the back. Now, I gave you a ton of space on the back. I gave you a ton of space on the back because we used to do this the long way. So P is greater than or equal to 3, just as a reminder what the long way was. Means we need the probability of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Oopsies. That should say probability of 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 8 different problems that we would have to do. So we're going to scrap that idea. We're going to use the shortcut in the calculator. And we get the n is 10. Okay, that stays the same. Probability 0.608. Okay, just note if there's a typo in the calculator, I can't see it because it's like this big on my screen. So if I make a mistake and the mistake is because of typo, just roll with it, put the right number in your calculator because it's really tiny. And if I was to verify every time, I would literally have to pick up my tablet and like look at it very closely. And nobody wants to see my face that close. So, but I think this is right, 608. Probability that x is greater than or equal to. Remember, it defaults to less than every time. So if it's greater than, we have to change it. It's currently on greater than or equal to 0. We want greater than or equal to 3. 3. And notice 2 is no longer highlighted. 1 is no longer highlighted. It's just 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 10, which is what we wanted. And so for this, the probability that x is greater than or equal to 3 is 0.989. Not a funky 9, but you get the point. All right. If at this point you have done nothing because you didn't know what you were doing, pause the video. Do number 7. It's just like the last few we've done. Throw it in the calculator and see if you can do it. If you already have the answer for number 7, keep on going. But the whole point of this assignment is to make sure that you know how to do it before the quiz. Okay, so here we have a group of 5 people. Again, I already wrote it down. 5 people, 65% of them passed on their first try, so 0.65 is the success. And we want to know that less than 3 were successful on their first attempt. Now, less than 3 is 0 people, 1 person, or 2 people. That's less, because it's not or equal to, it's less than 3. So what we're going to do here is if I go here, I'm already at 3. Oh, I got it. Okay. Hold please. What just happened? Now it's 2. Okay. We're almost done. So that's close enough. It doesn't matter that I'm at 3. What am I saying? I have to go back and change N. And I have to change P. It's already at less than. So if I type 3, notice I only want 0, 1, and 2. But over here on the calculator, 0, 1, 2, and 3 are colored in. So because it forces that or equal to sign, we have to rewrite this as less than or equal to 2 if we want to use the calculator. Because if we include the 3, that's not what the question is asking. The question is just asking less than 3, not including 3. So we're going to include 2. So I'm going to change that up here on the calculator. I'm going to delete the 3 and write a 2. And when I do that, the 3 is no longer highlighted. It's just the 0, 1, and 2. So the probability that x is less than 3, which is the same as the probability that x is less than or equal to 2. Either way, you think about it, it equals 0.235. I'm going to draw my thing. Okay, where's my controls? Which screen am I on? Goodness gracious. Okay, perfect. That is it for the review. That is it for this unit. You are now ready for the test, ready or not. So please email me if you have any questions about this or the project, and I will see you in the next unit, in the next video. Bye.